This week on Not Another Shooting Show.
We don't clean our guns.
How do I plug in things?
I forgot my rifle at the range. It's also heavy as shit.
How do you not burn yourself?
Shoot the dirt. He's Jeff King. I'm Andy Erickson. This is Not Another Shooting Show, episode 45, Jeff.
The Lord's caliber.
Because we haven't done 46 yet. Speaking of 46, that is a caliber of suppressor you can buy that's good for 45 caliber pistols, and we will have a guest on to talk all about suppressors tonight. My good buddy Tyler he's not like an expert, but he's a guy who owns a lot and he's used them a lot. And we're going to talk to him on the show tonight all about suppressors. So that's coming up on the show. I have stories though, Jeff.
Yay.
We go to Jamaica, where a policeman assigned to the Ocho Rios police station in St. Anne is currently nursing a bullet wound after he reportedly accidentally shot himself Sunday morning.
Poor guy.
It is reported that the police sergeant was at home when he was preparing to leave for work. The cop was about to holster his service pistol in his waist. Now, I don't think read into that too much.
Yeah,
I think that's just bad news writing. Like,
yeah,
I don't think he was putting it in the belt. It said he was putting it in a holster in his way. I think it was just a normal police holster. I don't know for sure, but I'm just going to go with that. It accidentally went off, and he was shot in the leg. Taken to a hospital, later transferred to another facility where he's being treated. Not a life-threatening injury, but I'd love to know what gun it was.
Right, because with these countries, I mean, it could be like a Makarov from the 70s or like...
Yeah. Like, this isn't a P320. This could be like a Luger, you know?
Oh, 100%.
Literally could be a Luger.
Right, or a Walther P38, or so maybe a CZ75. Like, when I was in India, the cops would just have whatever gun. I saw 3 cops standing next to each other. One had a double barrel shotgun, one had a P90, and then the other one had an Enfield bolt action rifle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to say a Webley revolver. That would have been kind of dope.
I don't think they give him any handguns, but...
Now we go to Oregon, where a Bend man, who police say was drinking while he was cleaning his gun... accidentally shot himself in the leg, Jeff.
Oh, shocking.
Cleaning his gun. Imagine that. He was cleaning his gun and shot himself. It's crazy how often this happens where like, I shoot a shitload. Jeff shoot a shitload. We don't clean our guns.
Nope.
Yet people who probably don't shoot their guns that often keep shooting themselves in the leg.
Right, we're being extra safe by not doing maintenance to our guns.
That's why we don't clean our guns. Bend police say it happened late Tuesday night. The man's friend reportedly told police that he and the victim had been out shooting their handguns earlier in the day, then returned to the man's apartment. The friend said they were drinking bourbon and cleaning their guns. I mean, that's from the Jamaican Red Stripe commercial. We had a Jamaican cop shoot himself. Now we got these guys drunk. It ties it together. They were cleaning their guns when the man accidentally pulled the trigger and shot himself in his own left thigh. Accidentally pulled the trigger.
Bourbon will do that to you.
Well, this is true. Anyway, the man drove himself to a hospital, lost consciousness, and hit a pillar outside the center, which was next to the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 dudes, right? So why is he
dudes.
driving himself?
I do not know. Like, can't the friend, they were drunk. So he's like, well, you've been shot, so they probably won't give you a DUI. So how about you drive, because you're drunk but shot. So they'll overlook the drinking. I haven't been shot, but I'm drunk. So...
You're the more sober one of us, even though you're shot. That'll do it.
Yeah, adrenaline helps sober you up. So, how about you drive? The man was transferred by ambulance to the St. Charles, Oregon emergency room. Hospital was placed on lockdown during the incident, even though the shooting happened at the apartment. That's funny. Way to be paranoid, Oregon. Okay. We have a guest on the show this week. Jeff was asking about suppressors, and I don't remember if it was during the show or if it was when we were getting ready for a show or if it was after a show or what it was. But I think it was last week before the show.
Yeah, I think it was the beginning of the show. I mentioned a desire for them, and you're like, oh, I know someone who is an expert in these things.
Yeah, I do. And an expert from a user level. I didn't want like some shill who's like buying and selling or selling the shit or making the shit. I wanted a guy who just buys them, uses them, knows about them from the user level. My good buddy Tyler Meester is on the show. Welcome, Tyler. You're finally a guest on my other podcast now.
Yes, I just have to make it back like 3 or 4 times and do something, be on a cooler episode than the greatest poop story ever told.
That episode would have been so good if you'd had a microphone.
Yeah.
That was recorded at Iowa Section last year. I forgot to bring the other mic, so we had to hand a mic back and forth. It was stupid. So, Tyler is a suppressor dork. Every now and then I'll just get a random text like, I'm thinking about getting this. It's not always a suppressor, but sometimes it's a suppressor. So we had some people ask some questions on the Reddit, and we're going to get to those too. But Jeff, this was sort of like your thing, a thing you're interested in. Why don't you start it off?
Alrighty. Yeah, so I have never had a great desire for suppressors until fairly recently, and so I've never studied them in depth. I see marketing material, and that's about it. So like I literally don't even know where to start with suppressors. So like, can you help me understand like what is the best suppressor for limiting the noise out of a rifle and a pistol without running subsonics? And like, what do I need like a 4-foot suppressor, or
this sounds like what's the best handgun I should buy?
Touche. Yes, I'm poorly
other than a
phrasing.
Glock 19. What pistol should I buy?
Right. Well, if I have an AR, so we'll put the premise of it. I'm getting an AR. I'm going to put a suppressor on it. What am I looking for in this suppressor if I don't intend to shoot subsonic? Like what do I there's like 100 different options of suppressors. What should I be looking for?
So I think I'll start off and say I'm disclaimer, I'm like a guy who's half Dutch and half German, so I like fine crafted things.
And he's a cheap ass.
And at a really discounted price. So
I support this.
I think that I that's the type of guy I am, so that's my base level. My knowledge is like a little bit more than normal. So you're asking probably the same questions as I asked when I went into this, and I think there's kind of like I'm a realist, not an idealist. So let's say you're going to put it on an AR. What kind of AR? Are you going to put it on an SBR?
No.
Is that what you're going to put it on? You're not going to put it on an SBR, because if you're going to put something on an SBR, you have to get a can that is rated for a shorter barrel, and
Good
whatever rate limitations it needs to be on the rate of fire.
I didn't know that either.
So when you're buying a can, and specifically for an AR, you should look at what you're going to do with it. If you are putting it on an SBR, a lot of can manufacturers will say it can't be on anything less than 16 inches, or it can't be on anything less than 14 inches, or it can't be anything on 10 or less. So that's something you need to look for as well. The other thing you need to look for is probably what the can is made of and its duty cycle. I have a can I have a Sandman S here. This is my very first can, and that is made out of stellite, and can be like full auto belt fed, ran on a 300 ROM. It can take it any kind of any barrel length. It can take it. So
okay.
But on the flip side of that, it's also heavy as shit. That can that can is heavy. It can take a beating. I put it on my AK. I run mag dumps through it on my ARs. I heat it up when I'm shooting 308 or whatever it is. I heat it up. So you got to know your duty cycle. You got to know what your barrel is going to be, because let's face it, I didn't think I was ever going to get an SBR, and here I am with SBRs. So you need to prepare yourself for the future of what that's going to be for you.
So I'm an adult sized male, and SBRs don't work for me. So like
Okay.
I've had SBRs in the past, and I'm just big, and so I can't. I
A
feel like
16-inch AR looks like an SBR when he holds
right,
it.
right.
So.
So I that is very good information because I didn't think about the different pressure differences.
No, I didn't either.
So the other thing, I'm not finished. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. But the other thing, because this all plays together, and this is shit I wish I would have known like way before I jumped into this game. The other thing you need to think about is what you're going to do for your muzzle device and how the can is going to attach to the gun. There's so many different muzzle attachments you can do for muzzle devices into cans. You really need to figure that out because there's such a weight difference, whatever muzzle device you use.
That was going to be another one of my questions.
So, like me, for example, on my Sandman, that is chemo. I'm a adopter of the guy. I'm a chemo guy. It's super heavy, but I like it just because the brakes
What's chemo? You're saying a word I don't understand.
So chemo is you've seen it on my AK when I turn the can off and it ratchets.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the way the can connects to the muzzle device.
Oh, so that's like a standardized type of attachment for suppressors?
Yep, correct. And you
Okay.
can do that. And the thing about chemo is the Dead Air is the manufacturer. They do the chemo thing. That's their thing. And they make flash hiders that are chemo attachment. They make regular big muzzle brakes that are adaptable to it. And they also make small, they call it mini brakes, which cut down on the weight too. But the chemo system's very, very, very heavy. You can go to other systems like the Plan B, which Q has, which I don't really use, but basically it's an insert into the hub system, and then you can put on a very lightweight muzzle adapter, whatever that is. So that is like that in itself could be a whole podcast of what you want to get into for a muzzle device. When you're looking at it, most cans nowadays have adopted the hub. The hub tech, the kind of the hub standard where it's a certain thread pattern where like the chemo can attach into it. You screw your chemo thing into it, and then that chemo screws onto your muzzle brake, or you can pick whatever adapter you want to do on it. So that's just another thing. But there's certainly lightweight options, and there's heavyweight durable options, and some things have muzzle attachments, whether it's a brake or really good brakes that work with some muzzle device or with the whatever device you're going to attach the can to, and some aren't. So like the Q, the Plan B, I think their muzzle brakes suck, but it's super lightweight. So if you're looking to attach and do lightweight, that's an option too. Or you can go direct thread. But do you really want to go direct thread on an AR? Because do you want to take that can on and off and just shoot a regular threaded AR? I don't think so, but that's another conversation too. Is just it doesn't like if you're going to buy a can because you think it's going to make everything better. If I were shooting competition on an AR, I wouldn't want a can on my gun. No way.
Right.
Because you'd rather have a muzzle brake.
Yeah, for sure. So, and what's your experience with like pistol suppressors?
That I have, I think I have like, technically I have 3 here. Pistol suppressors are cool. I have a Obsidian 45, and I have a Wolfman, and I have an R9. And the thing about pistol cans is they're really heavy on the end of the gun. They're super cool, but you got to make sure you have sights that go over that are over the can so you can aim, because obviously if you have iron sights, none of that doesn't work very well.
Or you can just draw a notch in the back of the suppressor. And I'm kidding. But like I shot one of his pistols with a suppressor on it. I think it was your SIG. Was that a 226?
Yep, 226, yep.
Yeah. And I couldn't see the fronts. I mean, the sights were, I could see the sights, but they were behind the suppressor. Right. So I just sort of eyeballed it, and I was still hitting the plates fine. I mean, it was no big deal.
It's target focus shooting by another
target
name.
focus shooting. Yep.
And so when it comes, so let's say I've installed. We'll skip over the threading and all that stuff because you said that can get super complicated. Well, we can go more complicated. What modifications? So let's say we put the chemo system, and I put I think you said it was the Sandman.
Yep.
So we'll use that as our go-by for talking about the AR. So I've put that system on my AR. How do I make it run reliably? Like, do I need to change the gas system? Do I need a new bolt carrier? Do I need what do I need to change?
I've only messed with the gas. I've only messed with the gas system on it. That's usually all I do, and that's kind of where I leave it. There are other things where you can get a special bolt carrier that's better for suppression, or a charging handle that's better, that keeps the gas out, that's better for suppressed guns. I've tried all of that. The best thing is just tuning the gas system to the gun. That's the best thing I've found. But if you're building an AR and you're going through it, I would honestly, we're going to get to this point down the road, but don't buy one can to do all. Try to buy a can per gun, because it's just going to stay on the gun and you know it's going to work, and you're not going to flop things around.
Right, and that's my intention, is like, I'm going to buy an AR, and I'm kind of in like the direct thread mindset, because that AR and that suppressor are going to be the thing. And if I'm not shooting it suppressed, I'm just going to bring my other AR.
Right.
So that's my theory on it, at least.
As far as
save yourself money.
I want to jump in here quick, because you guys were talking about the gas and all that, and I'm left-handed. So I taste the back pressure from a suppressor in a way no one else does, unless they're left-handed. You were talking about the charging handles that help out with that, and what can you do outside of a piston gun to mitigate that?
So you can try to go for a can that has low back pressure. That was a thing when I got the Sandman. That's kind of why I got it too, because this is the most durable can with the least amount of back pressure, so you won't get that much gas in the face. But I think after a certain period on baffled cans like that, it's kind of just, it's going to be what it's going to be. Now, if you really want low back pressure and you don't want gas in the face, I would get a flow-through can. It's kind of new technology, probably in the last 4 to 5 years, 3D printed cans that allow better flow through the can and less back pressure. That's what I would do. And I think there's some companies that do really well at the back pressure thing. I think Surefire, they're really good. They just released their new, whatever the third can they have, and that's supposedly really good with back pressure. But if I was really concerned about back pressure and sniffing gas in my face, I would get a flow through can with Huxworks, or formerly known as OSS. That's what I'd tell you to do.
But how do they work? Are they worth a shit?
They're loud. They're louder
My loud
than
suppressor.
Right. But like if you're trying to suppress 5.56, you shot that one today. Like, it only suppresses so much.
Yeah.
And they're 3D printed cans. So
wait, I shot your honey badger today. That was a
5.56.
That was a flow through?
No, that wasn't. That wasn't. That was just a long. That was like a 8-inch, 9-inch.
You know what? Okay, let's pause there real quick, because I didn't know it was suppressed when I shot it, right?
Yeah.
I didn't get gas in the face. I did not taste that rifle.
So the thing about that gun is they have a proprietary bolt carrier group, we'll just call it a bolt system in there, and it's a 2-piece. I actually should have showed you that while I was here.
Oh.
And it's all designed. It's kind of like proprietary to them, and they're trying to develop something where they can throw in other guns.
Oh, but
that's probably why you didn't notice it, because that's like a brand new innovation that they came up with. It's super cool.
Yeah. No, I didn't even realize it, because it just shot like a regular AR, as far as, that was concerned. Like, it was just like, yep, I shot it, and I didn't really get any of that. Okay.
Yep. So that's that.
And switching to the pistols real quick, what do you just need to modify the recoil spring, or do the factory springs run fine with them? Like,
so I have never, on any of my pistols I put it on, I've never messed with the actual springs in the gun. I've never tuned them that much. To be honest, the only real large amount of pistol I shoot is 22 pistol. But on my 226 with this R9 on here, the other thing we need to talk about is what it takes to adapt a pistol to a actual suppressor. You need a Nielsen device. And you've probably seen that online. That's basically a spring.
I've never heard of that at all.
Okay, you might want to Google that, because basically what that does is it's a spring on like a little piston in there, and it allows the gun, when it recoils, the can doesn't get jolted as much. It kind of gives it a little bit of floppiness. So you should look that up. But that's also, when you're doing a pistol can, you'll have to buy a Nielsen device if it does not come with it already. But as far as the gun itself, obviously a threaded barrel. And then I've never messed with the springs, but guys certainly do. I've been thinking about since I fondled Andy's TSO today, getting a threaded barrel for the X5 and keeping that red dot sight on there, my SIG X5, and putting a actual pistol can on that.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, because I've heard of them making them unreliable, but I've also heard that that's part of the like gas coming or basically the crud in the gun gumming it up much quicker than we're used to.
For sure,
like
that happens.
What's your experience? Like, how many? Let's say I've direct threaded my Sandman.
You can't direct thread a Sandman because that has chemo. But anyways, continue.
Yeah, so I've mounted the chemo. I've mounted the Sandman to an AR. It's just living on there. How many rounds can I put through a standard gas AR before malfunctions start?
I don't even think. I mean, I probably have 2,000 rounds on my Honey Badger 300 Blackout Honey Badger, and I've never cleaned that. I've never cleaned it. And even on my 22 pistols, it's my suppressed 22 pistols that I always shoot suppressed. I probably have like 4,000 rounds on that, and I haven't cleaned it. So if you're kind of anal like that, go for it. It also depends on the type of ammo you use. If you're using really shitty ammo, obviously it's going to get shittier faster. But right. I've never really had a problem with anything malfunctioning because of it was dirty. But again, I don't know. Maybe I just shoot better ammo that doesn't do it. But that's not something I've never been concerned about.
Okay. One of the when we think about putting suppressors on guns, some of us think of Call of Duty and like it messes with the stat bar a little bit. So if I put a suppressor on my AR and I live in a state where I can use an AR to hunt deer, how does it affect my accuracy, my range, and then like does it mess with like bullet expansion or like do hollow points act differently in it for some reason?
Let me go first, Tyler. You can correct me if I'm wrong about anything.
Go.
It doesn't affect accuracy, at least not in my experience. It affects the zero.
Yes.
When you take the suppressor off, the gun will hit higher than it. Am I getting that right? Is it higher or lower with the can off? Basically, it bends your barrel a little bit. Like it. There's more weight on the end, so there's a slight shift in
Correct.
impact.
It goes down.
Yeah. With the can on, it would go down. It would go up with the can off.
Correct. But with the can, you'll see if you're going to chrono it, you will see an increase in feet per second with the can on, just because it acts like an extension
increases
of
it.
Yeah, it does increase it. Yep. Okay. I've seen, like on my 308 and Creedmoor, I've seen anywhere, depending what load I'm shooting, I've seen anywhere from like 30 to 50. So it really depends on what bullet you're shooting or whatever. But actually, because it acts like part of the barrel, because it's taken air, it's kind of peeling air away from the bullet per se. That's the way it's been explained to me. So you'll see that. And as far as hunting, like obviously it's nice not to wear ear pro when you're hunting. I've only gone with Andy antelope hunting, but it's like I have a really bad flinch when it comes to. I used to have a really bad flinch when it comes to shooting large rifles. So suppressors have definitely helped with that, because it's just it's more of a push and it's not a snap. There's nothing more relaxing than sitting behind a 6.5 Creedmoor with a good can on it, a bolt gun, and shooting 600 to 800 yards and not having to wear ear pro all the time. It's just that's where it's at. And hunting without ear pro, like the less stuff I have to keep in my head, the better, in my opinion.
Okay. Which he learned a lot when we went hunting, because he did a few dumb things.
We still need to do our hunting episode where Andy can school me, because I've never gone hunting before. So
we should do a hunt together sometime.
Like all three of us. We got to talk Jeff getting out of the Gucci Palace, which, because like we camped. Like Tyler's kind of Gucci, but we were in a pretty Gucci tent. It
was a nice tent.
My dad's big old Cabela's outfitter tent, and we had heat.
How do I plug in things? But
well, anyway,
yes. So one of the things that goes to my brain when I see people running suppressors is, like you were talking about mag dumping your suppressors and stuff like that. How do you not burn yourself Like when I see the like the suppressor becomes extremely hot, and then if you got like a 2-point sling or whatever, and you just like let the gun hang down, are you ever worried about burning yourself, or is there things you do to mitigate that?
I run a wrap. I run a the only can I really burn down is my Sandman, and I have a Coltac suppressor wrap on that. It's a burn proof one, and that's what I keep on that gun, and that's what a lot of guys will do.
Is it actually burn proof? Like it won't melt?
No, I've gotten it super fucking hot, and it's never melted.
In my last rifle class, a guy was shooting suppressed, and he had, or two guys that were shooting suppressed, and they had whatever their wrap was on it, and it was starting to melt to the suppressor.
Oh yeah,
because it was getting hot. Because we were shooting a lot of rounds, and so
No.
there's another like bolt guns wrap good. Lots of shooting with automatic, not so good.
Yeah.
I would guess.
I've heard that people sometimes use the wrap to like it can mitigate the
Mirage.
Yes.
Yep.
So,
I don't know. I guess I don't shoot enough to really notice that. Maybe the PRS guys, they wrap it for that reason to keep the Mirage off there, but I don't really notice that much Mirage shooting cans.
All right. And one kind of silly question. How would you carry a suppressed pistol around? Like
In a trench coat.
Yeah, I guess I don't. I don't. Again, like the only suppressed pistol I would carry around on me would be my 22 pistol. Otherwise, I'm not going to carry a 9mm suppressed anywhere with me. You can get those holsters. That's not practical to me. But I guess if you're going to keep it in your truck, right? Like you just want a truck gun, you're going to keep it in there. I'd keep it in the center console. But like, that seems pretty Timmy to me to do that. But
right.
who am I?
I forgot I had a silenced pistol
Hell yeah.
program, so
Have you seen the video of, I think it was Hunter Constantine, or at least I think he shared it, where a dude like was like running the stage, put the suppressor on the end of the thread, and then he had like some type of tape on the end of it and just like pulled it to mount it. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
what?
Yeah. Basically, they put some type of tape on the suppressor. So as he's like running the stage, he puts the suppressor on and then just yanks the tape, and it's wrapped around it. So it like screws the suppressor onto the gun. And
he
then
wrapped it like in a spiral.
Yeah. He did like multiple wraps around it
God,
with
that's
tape,
funny.
and then pulled it and like it mounted, and he finished shooting the stage. And I was like, oh yeah, no, that seems reasonable.
What
Yeah.
was it off, or why did he do that? Was he just balling out, or
I think he's balling out. Hunter does a lot of what's a nice way to say this? Clickbait type videos for the average gun consumer.
okay.
And so it was probably something silly he did either during training or like right after a match got done, when the match director was like, yeah, you can totally put your fingers in front of the barrel and put a suppressor on your gun. But it looked cool. So you through your talking, how do you maintain the suppressor itself?
Oh yeah, we had questions about this on Reddit too. Let me find the. There was one question I wanted.
The wipes?
Is that where? Oh yeah, there was somebody who had asked a basic rundown of how to care for and clean a suppressor. Do you have to use special solvents? How often should they be cleaned? Would you warn a new suppressor owner about before they use it? Heard a blow? Okay, that's other stuff we talked about. That's okay.
So we can talk about cleaning. I've never had to clean any of my rifle cans. You can clean them by putting them and submerging them in like a simple green or a purple power solution and letting them soak in there for a day or two.
But there's a caveat to that you had to tell me, because mine is not all steel.
So you need to go to the Silencer Shop's website if you really want to know this. Just Google them for cleaning. You need to know the type of material your can is made out of. I think I actually have it pulled up here. I do.
Because mine is aluminum with steel baffles.
Yeah, so you shouldn't...
Mine's a cheap one.
Yeah, yours is cheap. So aluminum, you need to be very careful when you clean it. So disclaimer, make sure you're looking of what part of your can is aluminum before you submerge it in any kind of solution, or if you do soda blasting or ultrasonic or whatever. Aluminum is the one that's really picky, so make sure you look at that. But if you want to use if your can can do it, so stainless steel or titanium, if you want to do it, dip your can in a solution of simple green or purple power and let it sit there for a few days, and then it'll just soak up. And you'll want to shoot it to clean it out and dry it out. That usually works best, but that doesn't have to happen very often. The other caveat is if you care about your finish of your can, make sure that that is not going to be affected by the dip you're putting it in. So that's rifle cans. Pistol and 22 cans, they require a lot more cleaning. With the 22 can, again, beware of your baffle set, whether it's a stainless steel or aluminum. On my cans, which were stainless steel, I have two 22 cans. I actually, when they were brand new, I heated the baffles up as hot as I possibly could, and then stuck them in brake fluid, because what that does is it creates some kind of coating on it that makes it easier to clean when you clean it down the road.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of people putting like frog lube in them too.
Yep.
Or just any can, just to make it easier to clean down the road.
Yep. So you can do that, but as far as cleaning pistol and 22 cans, again, know what your material is that your can's made out of. I like to do purple power and ultrasonic cleaning. Throw the baffles in there and let them go for a couple hours. Take them out and they're good to go. You can also do dry media blasting or soda blasting or brush and solvent, whatever you want to do, but they require a lot more cleaning. 22 cans specifically require a lot more cleaning. I need to do both of mine. I probably have 3,000 rounds on both of them. So that is those are the ones you have to watch out for.
Extremely noob question. Can you take apart a suppressor, or do you just like dump the whole thing in the solution?
So rifle cans, you generally cannot take them apart. Most of the time you can't. There's probably ones out there now that you can, but most of the time
mine is
you
actually
can't.
sectional. Mine is like 5 pieces total. Like,
so does it have an outer tube that goes on the outside of it and then you slide it in?
No, it's literally like 5 pieces that all screw together. So I can lengthen it or shorten it.
Got it.
There's the base that screws onto the adapter that goes onto the barrel, and then there's, I think, 3 like 1.5, 2-inch sections, probably 1.5 or so.
Yep.
And then the end.
So most cans they're welded baffles. Most cans are welded baffles, but like pistol cans, you generally can pull the baffles out of there and take them apart. And 22 cans you can, because basically on 22 cans and pistol cans, just the outside is for looks and kind of holds it together because it isn't very high pressure. And then you push the baffles out, and then you can take them out and then you can clean them.
Okay, that seems simple enough.
It's very simple.
So going to the Reddit, there's several interesting questions.
Yes.
Do you have any experience with wipe suppressors?
Yes, I have a Wolfman, and I primarily run that can on 38 special, my lever gun, my 38 special Henry lever gun.
The best gun I ever shot suppressed ever was your 357 Magnum Henry.
Mm-hmm.
God, that was fun.
This can has wipes. You can add wipes. If you're not familiar with what wipes are, they basically are a rubber washer that goes into the end of the end cap of the gun. You can put them on there, and it makes the hole smaller to shoot through. And when the bullet goes through, it expands the little rubber washer, and then it dampens the sound that comes out of it. Beware that only lasts a couple shots before it really wears it out.
Oh.
And I've had, specifically on this can and 357, I've had a lot of dispersion change when I've used wipes. So I really don't.
Dispersion by like where the bullet lands?
Yeah, where it lands and where it goes. I mean, I've had, at like 80 yards, I've had a freaking like foot or two.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because Ian from Forgotten Weapons had a really good explanation of that situation, is because the wipes are essentially, are they rubber, or are they there's some type of material that the bullet is literally punching through, and that's what keeps the sound and like the concussion in it. And every time the bullet goes through, it damages a little bit more, but it also doesn't damage them uniformly. And so the first bullet had to punch through, say, 5 wipes. Then the next one is punching through all 5 of them, but they all have just a little bit of hole in them. And so it's knocking the bullet a little bit more. And yeah, so that's an interesting problem to have, because I've seen a lot of people talk about wipes because those first 5 to 10 shots are so quiet.
There used to be a lot of drama, specifically from the ATF, because the ATF's like, no, you can't buy those wipes, those refill wipes, anywhere but at your SOT. That's actually part of the silencer. So there was a big hullabaloo about that. Like, you couldn't go on eBay. Not that I knew anyone that did this. You can't go on eBay and buy a bunch of rubber washers that fit in there on the end cap. They used to say that you had to go to your SOT to get those, but there was a bunch of drama behind that. But wipes they're cool if you're shooting, I don't know, maybe 15 yards and in. Maybe that's cool because the dispersion isn't that much. But, I mean, it is noticeable when you shoot it. I mean, it is quieter for sure.
Yeah.
I'd never even heard of those. We had another question. This is one, it involves me, so that's why I want to get to it. Nolan asked, has any actual governmental authority actually verified the legality of your NFA equipment? And if so, were they qualified to make an authenticity verification? Tyler, have you had this happen?
I have never had this happen.
I had this happen last summer, a year ago, 2023. It was a warm June day in Fall River County, South Dakota. I had just taught a class. I was shooting my 6-arc AR that had a suppressor on it, and I got done shooting. And then I was going to drive to Rapid and go drink whiskey with Brucey and his wife. Well, mostly just with Bruce. And I ate with he and his wife, but then it was just me and him doing a podcast. But I was about 10 minutes from Bruce's house when I realized, oh, shit, I forgot my rifle at the range. And it had a suppressor on it. So I called Bruce, said, gonna be late, haul ass, I'm speeding. Trying to get back there because, holy shit, I left not only this 6-arc build that I had, but also the suppressor that was on it. So I get there. There was a couple that came to shoot their rifles right as I was leaving, and the gal, as I'm pulling in, the Fall River County Sheriff pickup is in the parking lot. I pull in, walk over, grab my rifle. I turn around. Boom, there's the deputy. Oh, hi. And he's like, hello there. Heard you forgot something. Yeah, I did. And then he said, can you just tell me your name? And I said, Andrew Erickson. And where do you live? Sioux Falls. All right, cool. Just checking. He already knew who belonged to that suppressor. And earlier this afternoon, I contacted a buddy of mine who is in law enforcement just to ask and double check. And I'm pulling up his text right now. And I said I knew there was a way for them to look up NFA registration, because like if you have an NFA item, it's a registered item, you know, and they can search the serial numbers. He did say, contrary to others' belief, I cannot run a name and see who owns what guns because it doesn't exist. If I have a gun and serial number, I can run a trace, which is called an E-trace.
And to figure out like which shop it got sent to?
No, like it, as soon as that deputy in Fall River County ran an E-trace on my suppressor, boom, it said Andrew Erickson. And had my address and info and everything, because it's just in a searchable database for law enforcement.
Wait. Are you saying when he says an E-trace, are you just talking for suppressors or for guns?
NFA stuff.
Oh, NFA stuff.
It's
okay.
through the ATF.
Oh, okay.
Like they have a search engine from the ATF that they give to law enforcement for like found or lost or crime related. You know, if a stolen pistol and suppressor is found at the scene of a crime, and well, okay, this is a suppressor, they'll run the serial number and find out who it was registered to. And like I know here in South Dakota they have. We don't register guns in South Dakota, but if guns are reported lost or stolen, then those guns are on a list. There is a stolen firearm database, and like all the pawn shops and gun dealers have to, if they take in a trade, they
run
have
it through.
It's got to be bounced off of that list or whatever. So
there's no way though that if they run a serial number for a gun, they can't see which shop it went to and ended at.
I don't. like he was just talking. He just said it was NFA item. So if it was a short-barreled rifle, then that would be able to be
Sure.
known. I'm sure they have a tool to do that as well. Because why bother going? You know, I mean, it's mostly digital now. Like I didn't ask him that detail. I just was asking about NFA stuff because I knew it existed because it happened to me. Like I didn't know they could just go to his in-car laptop and punch a number into a website and find out who belonged to my suppressor. So
I bet that doesn't happen very often.
no, because most people aren't as fucking stupid as me and left it at a range and then drove 45 miles.
The dude who forgets his gun belt all the time. I'm not surprised.
Yes, yes.
And that was what Nolan's question was. Is the idea is there's this fear that like, oh, like I'm going to show up to a range and the gun store employee or a cop is going to be like, all right, break out your paperwork. Let me go through your papers. And it's
So,
like, no one ever does.
there are gun ranges that will do that. Like they ask to see the tax stamp. I saw it on Reddit, the NFA subreddit. I see that happen all the time on there, and the guys tell them to fuck off. Like they can't. The only person that can ask you for that stamp is allegedly the ATF. That's the only people who can ask you for it.
Right, and that was what the
local law
conversation-
enforcement also can.
They can.
Yes,
But
what I found on the. I'm going to mention it, and Jeff's probably going to shit on it like it's not real, but it's the. There are a couple of lawyers who armed attorneys, I think, is the YouTube channel or something like that. I found a video they did about do you have to have your tax stamp with you, and technically, yes, you do. In South Dakota, the way the law is written, it just if you have a suppressor with you, it's illegal to own a controlled weapon, which a suppressor is a controlled weapon. But there are a list of exceptions. One of the exceptions is if it is properly registered with a state or federal blah blah blah. And it doesn't say I have to have my paperwork with me.
So you have a state law that requires, because my question was going to be, how does local law enforcement enforce a federal act? Because
it's
they're not federal employees.
A lot of federal laws have a lot of federal laws don't have teeth unless the state has the same law.
Right, which is what they're finding with machine guns with the Glock switches.
Right. So, like, when it comes to that, controlled weapons are, illegal in my state, in South Dakota, but they're allowed under the exceptions that, like I have a tax stamp for my suppressor, so it's allowed. But other states don't. Like they're legal federally, but they're illegal in some states.
Yeah, Iowa was a big you couldn't have suppressor state. Here, going back to the suppressor questions, are there any suppressors you regret purchasing from your collection? You have so many of them.
Honestly, my biggest regret is my second can. It's my Obsidian 45.
Okay.
Why do you regret it?
I wish I bought the can because I'm like, I want a 9mm can that I can put on one of my pistols and shoot. And the internet was raving about the Obsidian 45, and Rugged is a really good suppressor company, which we should talk about warranty next. But Rugged's a really good company. And so I'm like, I'll just get a 45 can because then I can shoot anything through it, right? Like, it'll be great. I'll have many 45 caliber things to shoot through it. I only own at that point in time, I only owned a 45 XD pistol that still does not have a threaded barrel, but I bought the can anyways. And the can I put on my 357 that I shot 38 through. It did that a lot. Put it on a pistol. It's just really long. It can be configured into a K. But honestly, it's just the can that sits in the back of the safe. The back of the safe a lot more than all the other cans. I mean, if I had another gun to put it on, I'd put it on there. But that can's not rated for that high of a pressure, so it's kind of useless. Because I have a 4570 that I suppress, and I have a primal from Dead Air on that, and that can could take up all the way to a 338 Lapua. So the Obsidian 45 is kind of You better have a reason to buy a 45 can if you're going to buy a 45 can.
Interesting. Right. I want to quick mention the first time I shot Tyler's lever action 357 with 38s in it. There's no such thing as a supersonic 38, in case you didn't know. They're all under 1,000 feet per second. and he loads it up, and I start shooting it at a plate. We'd been practicing, and then he brought some other toys to play with. I think I shot your P226 suppress that day too.
Yeah, probably.
And I was shooting the plate, and finally he just goes, "Stop! Shoot the dirt." So I move the dot over to the dirt. His lever action had a Hollow Sun 510 on it, by the way. And I pulled the trigger, and all I heard was the fucking hammer falling. And then I heard the bullet hit the dirt. It was like, click, thud. It was awesome. It was so awesome.
It's awesome.
What an offensive weapon you have with that Henry lever action.
But it's so long. So long.
It's not concealable, no. It's really long, but god damn, it's fun.
Earlier this spring, my brother was out from eastern Iowa, and we had a plate at 240 yards. And that Henry, with a can on it, we were printing about a 2-inch group with 38s.
What? At 200 yards?
It was wild.
Holy shit. Were they hand loads?
Yeah. No, these weren't hand loads. Nope. They were just factory ammo. It was insane. It was pretty crazy. Even my brother's like, this is nuts. Because I have a 300 blackout bolt gun, and we were shooting subsonic with that, and that was, those are hand loads, but those are shitty berries that have no centricity in the actual projectile itself. But that thing was all over the place. But the Henry and 38 was like dead nuts on. It was wild. That is like, there's like 3 guns I really want to buy, but have no justification whatsoever for. And the 357 Henry is the one with the threaded barrel is one of them. I want one of those so bad. The 4570 Henry is also like, that's
but
pretty fun.
I don't want to mess with a 4570 though.
Yeah, but it's so fun to hear subsonic. Hear those hear it just like this hunk of lead just soaring through the air and just like
an eighth of a pound of lead going through the air. Bong.
So fun. So to answer your question, the Obsidian 45 is the can I regret buying. But if I would have got the Obsidian 9 if I was going to do anything. That would have been 9mm if I was going to change it. But I probably shouldn't have just bought that can. That was a dumb purchase.
I think that was all the Reddit questions. It was actually not as many as we thought, but they were good ones. Thanks, guys. I want to ask you real quick, like, you've gotten a couple, and you just got that Honey Badger too. That's an NFA item, but like the acquisition, the process, it's way better now with the e-file stuff. Like the e-file got straightened out. If I buy a can, like right now, Silencer Shop, they have like no fucking inventory.
Of course.
Everything's sold out because all of a sudden, if I buy one, it doesn't take a year to get it. How long is it taking if you can buy one? Right now, I see they have a Yankee Hill Turbo T3 in stock and a Rugged Obsidian 9 in stock, a few other things in stock. How long does it take?
This is a subjective question because everyone's like, oh my gosh, 2 or 3 day approvals is what some of these people are getting.
Well, those are the flukes, but it's happened, but it's not the norm.
You got to understand when you're dealing with NFA items, there's two ways to do this when you're dealing with the ATF to present it to them. There's an individual trust and there's an actual big trust. We'll just refer to that way. The guys that are getting the fast approvals are doing individual trusts. And those individual trusts are basically one can on the trust. You're the only person on the trust. You can't add anybody. You can't add any more cans to that trust. So that trust is limited to you and that can. And those are getting approved so fast because there's only one party to check. That's the person submitting it. So they don't have to run background checks. So that's why they're getting it fast with the electronic stuff now. So remember that those are the single trusts.
Let me interject one quick question. The trust, though, like different states have different trust laws. Some states you have to like do a whole big thing to add people to a trust. I believe our state, South Dakota, all you have to do is like write it on the paper.
Yep. So I have 3 trusts actually. So I have one trust for my Sandman, one trust for my Dead Air Mask, my 22 can. So those are on the same trust, but I have an individual trust for the Obsidian 45. Again, that was a terrible can. I shouldn't have purchased it, but that's on a single trust. That's just me and the can. I can't add that. If I move it to another trust, I got to pay some fee to do that, but I can't add anyone to that trust. But the big trust, that is like you can add as many cans as you want. And you can add people to it. But the moment you add more than one person on it, then those people have to, and you add more cans to the trust after that, they have to submit their fingerprints, their picture, all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
So you basically, I was told, is put as many cans as you want on a trust, and when you want to add somebody to it, write their name on it, add them to the trust, sunset that trust, and start another trust and start building cans on that one. So you can have people like my brother, like the R9 can, the Yankee Hill R9, which is a great 9mm can to 308 can. My intentions are probably pretty soon to sunset the trust that's on, add him to it, and then he can use my NFA items that are on that trust.
Well, and like everybody's got to be on the trust and backgrounded to like use them. I'm more concerned with like being able to give them to family afterwards.
Oh yeah, no, the beneficiaries, yes, you add that is in the trust. Like you're a beneficiary.
Yeah, even an individual.
Right. Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Even an individual, yes, a beneficiary, but that doesn't mean they don't have to go through the process.
But like down the road, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, my suppressor can go. My wife can do the paperwork for it, and
transfer to your kids.
It can
whatever
be
it is.
transferred to my wife or my kids when they're old enough. Whatever.
Yep. Yes, sir. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So there's that. Okay, Jeff. Anything else on suppressors for Tyler?
No, that answered a lot of my questions.
I have a couple things I'd like to hit up here.
Okay, go ahead. I knew
I'll be fast.
You're so organized. I knew you had stuff. You probably thought way too much about this.
I do have a notepad up here that I wrote all this stuff. If you are looking at a can, I would look at the warranty. There's companies out there that have warranty, no questions asked. If you get like a baffle strike or something, you just send it to them. They'll fix it and send it back, no costs. Really
is
good
that
company.
is that a pain in the ass to send it back to them, or can you just send it like in the mail or UPS?
You
Do you have to transfer it to send it to them?
Nope. You can just send it in the mail or UPS, and you might have to send it some special shipping way, like overnight or something like that.
Okay,
but,
yeah.
But since like Silence or Central advertises, once you get approved for their can, they'll send it to your door. You don't even have to go pick it up. So they can go through the mail because you're already the owner of it. Make sure. So like companies like Rugged has really good warranty. Dead Air has really good warranty. Yankee Hill Machine did have pretty good warranty. I know there was some drama on that a few years ago, but baffle strikes do happen, and you don't want to, have a shitty experience and then send it in and then have to pay $300 to get it recorded or whatever it is. Get something that has a good warranty.
So that extra couple $100 is worth it.
Totally worth it. I've never had to send a can in for any warranty work. The closest one I almost had to send in was my Sandman because I had a bad muzzle brake on a AR-10. So, but I never had to send that in. So look for a company that has a good warranty. There's so many can companies out there now. Again, I'm only mentioning the ones that I have. I think like AB Suppressor is a really good one. Otter Labs is a good one. I would just look into it. Also, the other thing, if you really want to look at like sound and blowback and all those really nerdy metric-y things that I'm nerdy and I don't really care that much about.
Yay, autism.
Pew Science. This guy reviews cans. I don't know what his process is, but he reviews them. He sound tests them. He does impulse testing when they shoot it. That's really good to just dig into that stuff. Just because you have a 5.56 doesn't mean you need a 5.56 suppressor. Like my Sandman suppresses 5.56 pretty decent given what it is. So, just be aware of that.
My can is a 7.62 can. I've shot it in a 308, a 6 Creedmoor, a 6 Arc, and a 5.56. And even I even put it on my AR pistol build, and the bullet crack's still pretty pronounced with that, but it still did a decent job of suppressing it. It does a great job with the 6mm bullets and the 30 cal bullets, but yeah,
to our ear, it's
a whole lot better than all that muzzle blast.
Right, correct.
And as somebody who's hunted, by the way, as somebody who has hunted a lot, I have shot one deer suppressed. I'm not gonna lie, it was offhanded about 75 yards out in the Black Hills, with my Savage 110 tactical. Nice heavy rifle. Add a can on the end. I had a Harris bipod on it. That bitch was heavy as hell. It's like Imagine if you had 3 Shadow 2s. Like that's the amount of weight I had just keeping it nice and steady. It was actually an easier shot than it sounds.
That is what that was next to my list is Jeff, even though I know you're a big dude, weight still matters when it comes to this stuff. It totally freaking matters. And if you're just going to put something on the end of your 5.56 16-inch gun, I wouldn't go Sandman on it. I don't know what your duty rate's going to be, how much you're going to shoot it, but looking at something, if
put
you
a K on it, is that what you're thinking?
Like if you're going to do direct thread, look at something like a Yankee Hill, like an R9 or something like that. That's pretty lightweight. You could look at something like that, can do many different options for you. But again, don't look, just don't listen to me. I'm a couple years behind because I had a kid and I bought a race car again, and so my money has been dumped into suppressors. What else here?
But you still know more than most people I know. Even the guys that work in gun stores that sell this shit, he knows more than a lot of those people do because he actually uses them. So
I'm sure somebody's screaming at us right now. He doesn't know shit.
I caveat with having Tyler on, he's an end user enthusiast. For people who don't own suppressors and are very new to it. If you're a suppressor expert, this show ain't fucking for you. Okay.
Thank you.
So,
speaking of more nerdy stuff, look up, if you guys want to go real chemistry, go look up what the dip is for 22 suppressors and cleaning baffles. You can create some pretty toxic parasitic acid. Look
God!
Look that up. Make your own nerve gas.
Seriously, yeah, look it up. It's pretty interesting. What else I got here? No, that's pretty much it. I think again, at the end of the day, to be a realist, not an idealist. If you buy a can, if you're going to put it on an AR, it's not going to be dead quiet. It's going to take the edge off where you can shoot it all day. You're still going to want to wear ear pro. The cycling action of the gun is still going to be loud as shit. But if you really want something super quiet, get a bolt gun or a lever gun and have fun with that, or get a 22 and just have fun with that. But it will take the edge off. I don't see myself not hunting with a suppressor after doing it. Maybe something lighter weight, just because I freaking hate the ringing in my ears. I hate the big concussion. As
someone who's used them for hunting, but not used them as much as you have, but I've done way more hunting than you have. There are trade-offs when it comes to hunting. If you're going to put a can on a hunting rifle, have a shorter barreled rifle, for sure. Both Tyler and I, when we went antelope hunting, I was carrying a 6-ARC AR. He was carrying a 6.5 Creedmoor AR. That was
Grendel.
6.5 Grendel. Oh, 6.5 Grendel. Sorry.
Yep.
6.5 Grendel. And Tyler's rifle was fucking stupid. It was so heavy.
That was a tank.
It was such a tank. Mine was just a regular AR build. It was nice and light, and then I put a suppressor on it. But hunting with ARs, I don't care what anybody says, it's kind of a pain in the dick. It really is, because they just don't sling well to carry that way. They just aren't as good. But when it comes to the barrel length, I have a buddy who bought a 16-inch 308.
That's the way.
Bolt gun.
That's the way.
And he put a can on it. And he put a K762 can on it.
Yep.
So the thing is about the length of a 22-inch hunting rifle, like a normal hunting rifle. So there are trade-offs with the suppressor. It is nice. I carry earplugs. If I have time to put them in when I'm hunting, I will. Every now and then I don't. All of a sudden it's surprise, it's time to shoot. I shot a buck in Harding County. All of a sudden I was expecting to have to stalk back another few hundred yards, and all of a sudden they came out, and I'm like, shit, and I did not have time to put in the earplugs, and yeah, I heard that one.
For a long time afterwards.
Yep. When I shot my elk, 3 rounds of 30-06, unsuppressed and no earplugs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that did my right ear a lot of good. It was not good.
Well, and so speaking of quietness, a buddy of mine asked a question that kind of flows into this: is what's the deal with lever guns?
Switching topics.
Right. You've commented that your lever guns suppress very effectively, but his question's more the general appeal of lever guns, because they represent nothing. They aren't the end all be all of anything anymore.
No,
And so
but
so what is it? What makes people come out with tactical skeletonized lever guns?
Tyler, you go first. I have an answer for this too.
I mean, I think it's obviously a big marketing thing, but at the same time, I think a lever gun, it's super easy to use. It's super ergonomic, like how fast I can shoot. I mean, if you can cycle a regular bolt gun that fast.
No, you can't. Lever guns are faster.
Right. It's faster. You can, and they just suppress better. They just suppress. It's just like a bolt gun suppressing. It's just in a lever form, and it's easier to shuck and get to the next round.
Most of the lever guns are capable of subsonic. Most, not all. I mean, there is such a thing as a lever action 308. Somebody makes one I saw recently. Shooting. I actually can't remember where I heard somebody talking about this. It might have been Caleb Giddings' podcast. They might have been talking about this, like in states where ARs aren't allowed, like full on regular ARs. You know, it's sort of like, this is like, you can put like, how many rounds can you put in your 357, Tyler?
I think it's like 8 or 9.
Is it that many?
30 of 38, yeah.
And I mean, it's not a 30 round AR, but like you can shoot it pretty fast, faster than a bolt gun. I sure can. Like, I've shot lever actions most of my life. My grandpa's old 30-30 my dad had forever. My son has a 22 Henry lever action. You can shoot that pretty damn fast. Not as fast as a semi-auto, but you can shoot it pretty fast. They're fun. Like, here's the thing. Nolan, they're fucking fun. That's why.
Right, but what about them makes them fun? Like,
that action of holding it tight to your shoulder and throwing your hand forward and bringing it back and pressing the trigger immediately is fun. There's something
John
about
Wayne,
it.
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Well, see, you can give that answer. Andy can't give that answer because he doesn't watch John Wayne movies. But
I don't either. Coming from the guy who doesn't really watch that many movies, which I still haven't watched Back to the Future, Andy.
Jesus Christ. It's on Netflix, you dumb shit.
I know.
Just fucking watch it. He's never seen the Back to the Future trilogy. I think he's, oh, God.
But, yeah, I like,
for baby time.
Me and Nolan talked about it, and I kind of explained the kerchunking. I believe the kerchunk and the mechanical working of a gun, like, makes it feel right to people. But there is that, like, especially like my dad's generation that grew up watching The Riflemen and all those movies.
It's nostalgia. That's part of it.
Yeah, that like, oh, back in the old West, this gun won the West. And it's like, not really, but okay, it's fine.
Okay, I have another way of saying why people like it. For the same reason, a 14-pound semi-automatic rifle that only holds 8 rounds, but it goes ping when it's empty, is fucking fun too. It's the same reason. It's just unique. It's different. It's fun.
But I was actually going to make that point against your point about the lever actions in like restricted states, is because the M1 Garand exists. Like, you get 8 rounds semi-automatic of 30-06 with a bayonet. Like, whatever problem your lever action was going to solve, you're going to solve it way more efficiently with an M1.
Yeah. And the M1, a lot of states that don't allow ARs, or they have a lot of restrictive rules, like, M1's still perfectly fine.
Yeah, and they reload fast enough, and you can put a bayonet on it, the most important part.
Yeah, that was fun. Another thing I saved for you while you were still on, Tyler, we went so much longer. We have to quit scheduling 30 minutes for guests because it's always an hour.
I was only allowed at 30 minutes? Holy shit,
well,
sorry.
that's what I have in my head, but like I'm not going to shut off a good conversation. So this is basically what the first topic after the news stories was going to be for the show, but I saved it because you were sort of involved with it today, Tyler. The topic idea is basically, okay, so the gun does actually matter. We're talking USPSA now. We're going back to pistols, USPSA. I have become the converted. The gun matters. But now what? Let me explain. For the second club match in a row. Now, granted, my club match at Canton last Wednesday was a fairly hosey match. There were some long targets. The match today at Big Sioux was... parts of it were hosey. Parts of it were very not hosey. I haven't shot anything worse than a Charlie in 2 matches. I shot 97% of the fucking points today.
Go faster.
Right. No, I know. That's the thing. But now what? Like, I can't, like, I part of it is like just trusting what I'm doing. Like, I know I'm doing the shooty part a little slower than I should. As stupid as that sounds, like, I looked at the timer when I shot the classifier today and I had 16 splits and I was probably going too slow on some targets. Like on the no shoes, I could have gone faster. There were other stages where I was just being careful like I would with my Glock because I'm used to the gun recoiling more, and this thing just shoots alphas. It just does. You know, it's so easy to shoot alphas. Now, I still subscribe to you can do well with any gun. Yes, you can. It's easier to shoot the heavy guns.
Yeah.
You can still fuck up your grip. You can still have a bad grip. But my grip doesn't matter nearly as much with a CZ Tac Sport Orange as it does with a Glock 34. But the main guts of my point is, but now what? I have suddenly reached the point where I'm like, oh my God, I won a club match today. I shot 97% of the points. There's only one thing left to do. Be faster.
Yeah.
So looking at your videos, so I think I saw one. Looking at your videos, do you think you shot as fast? You think you had the right splits you could on each target? Like, do you think you had the right splits in transition time? Just think about standing into the next one.
Transitions can always be better. They can always be improved. Like, that's the thing that never stops improving. I think everybody can, even if it's not faster, it can be cleaner. You know, that's like watching Lane drink. Whenever I watch Lane shoot a stage, he doesn't, like, his gun stops exactly where he wants it to. Like, that's a thing about his shooting that impresses me, is that, like, he goes from one target and it just stops at the spot he wants it, and he's shooting immediately. I don't do that well. That's a thing where I could save time.
Right. That's when I watched that one video. You shot that almost 180 target, and then you came back left, and then you came back right, and I was looking at the time you spent, like, looking and acquiring that target before you shot, and I'm like, oh man.
Well, are you talking about the target where I bumped my safety on? That was the first two targets where I did that.
Oh, maybe no, it was after that, because you went right, left, and then you were coming back right.
That stage I showed you the video of today.
Yes.
I shot 2 makeup shots on both targets. I had 3 alpha.
Oh, really? Trust yourself, man.
Yeah. No, but that's kind of where I'm at mentally now. It's like, okay, the gun does fucking matter. Now, I'm not saying everybody needs to go out and buy a super heavy steel pistol because you're going to suck if you don't. Like,
Buy a Shadow 2.
I've been practicing really hard for the last 5 years. Since 2019, winter of 2019 is when, like, I started doing daily dry fire. This is the first year where I haven't really dry fired daily. And I still dry fire a few times a week, just not the hard, regular dry fire. And all of a sudden, when I got a gun shooting 9mm minor ammo and a dot, all of a sudden it was like, oh, you are better than you thought you were when you have the right equipment, is basically what I sort of, like, found out today. Now, I didn't, like, beat everybody by a mile. Like, my normal nemesis, Chris, I beat him by 4%. Like, he wasn't way behind me or anything. And by the way, he also switched to a Shadow 2 this year, Tyler.
Did he really?
Yeah. He was.
Shit.
Well, and he was shooting heavy guns before. He was shooting a Sig Legion for, like, the last 5 years.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But, so he's had a heavy gun for a long time. I was shooting Glocks or Berettas for the last 5 years. So, Jeff, you're the master. You're a little farther out there. You've been shooting the heavy guns a while, okay? So, like, now what?
So now it's about building confidence. So, like you said, you had 2 makeup shots that were both alphas. That you made
so
up alphas with alphas.
Dumb.
And
It's
so
so dumb. It's the same stage where I bumped my safety on, too. Like, I could have cut fucking 2 whole seconds off without all that bullshit.
Right. And so, like, Joel has mocked me on his podcast for this, but you'll get to a point where you basically start using the force almost, and it's the paper starts to matter less and the mini steals start to matter more, because it's your position entry onto a steal or exit on a steal with confidence that will make the difference between you and other people. So that's kind of the biggest skill differences, or like USPSA specific items, but it makes complete sense that you would feel better with better equipment. It's why no one shows up to a NASCAR race and is like, yeah, I just, bought this Toyota Camry. Like, it should be fine, right? Like, what? Like, we make specialty gear for specialty tasks to do them very well. And I'm at the point where I have to rebuild my index and I have to start dry firing again and do all those things. But like, I was at the point where physical fitness was the thing that was limiting me. Well, physical fitness and then trying to shoot faster than my skill level allowed.
Yeah.
And which is a weird spot to be. It's like, hey, you move too slow and you shoot too fast.
Yeah.
So,
dude, you throw in a solid mental game and you're going to be a GM.
Right. And like, I'm at the point where if I grind the skills out, I can get there. No doubt in my mind.
My question is, when did you realize that it was the physical part that was like, when did you yourself realize you're like, oh my gosh,
when he weighed 375?
325.
Oh, my bad.
Jesus Christ, that's a large human. Can I ask what you weigh now?
300.
Okay.
So, and he's looking svelte. Like the first time I saw him this year, I was like, damn, dude, you've lost some weight. What do you weigh? 300 pounds? I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I saw him at Great Plains, and I'm like, that is a Greek god over there. Holy shit.
Yeah. No, you're looking good, Jeff.
Why, thank you. Good
you just need to shave. Your beard is a disaster. Just don't grow it.
I have gotten compliments on it. So
oh, my God. It's like you just started puberty.
Shut up. Testosterone helps. But a buddy of mine, I drink. Me and Lane were talking. I'm like, hey, what do I need to do to level up? He's like, you need to be less fat. And I was like, that's reasonable. And so I knew I needed to lose weight, and so I've started the physical fitness and like the focus on that. And so, but like, I'm a large, awkward dude, and so
you're less. No, you're not awkward. You're fucking athletic. Like, shut the fuck up.
Since I saw you in May, you look athletic as shit. Now, let's talk about Andy being athletic.
Like, I'm a fat athletic guy, but I'm fat. Like, if I drop 40 pounds,
oh shit.
Like it's sort of like all the excuses are gone now. Like, if I ever want to make GM, I gotta cut weight. I have to.
Yep. Yeah, and so I think once you hit like A class, your shooting is fine. You're probably not actually going to make a lot of your stuff is not going to be shooting related. It's going to be, like you said, transitions and confidence.
Yeah.
So it's like, the best way I can explain it is like, when, let's say there's a position you have to leave on the steal. Like, it doesn't make sense to do it any other way than ending on that steal. A C-class shooter puts gun on target, goes, yep, and goes bang, bing, cool, I'm going.
Waits for ding before they leave.
Right.
Ding fairy.
And even like an A-class shooter comes in, gun on target, boom, bing, go. Whereas like someone like Lane is like, gun on target, boom, bing, go. Like he's starting to move. He
knows he's going to shoot it.
Right. He knows that he's going to make that shot. And so he's already moving on to the next target. That confidence of like, yep, that went where I said it was going to go, off to the next target. That is where you're going to start finding shavings of time that it's really hard to like communicate that to like not good shooters, that it's like, hey, it's your ability to accomplish task and immediately move on to the next task.
Yeah.
Without the like, okay, I've completed the task. Cool. Let me go to the next spot. And you see it with like, even like B-class shooters that will like rip 15 splits on an open target.
Yeah.
And then they're like, blow.
Oh, dude, there's a guy in my club who regularly he shoots a Canic, and he's got the gift of like the fastest finger ever, but he's got a really shitty grip, and he doesn't aim.
Yep.
But he'll rip fucking 13 splits with his Canic. I've seen it on the timer when I ran him. Like, you'll hear it, and it's like, Jesus. And like, when he gets done, I'll go through the splits. I'm like, you shot a 13, a 16, a 17, and a 14.
Jesus.
Like, and yes, Kurt, I'm talking about you. He listens to the show. Like, dude, fucking aim. You're going to be great. You're going to be so much better. And he's older than I am. You know?
Oh, Owen's in that same boat of someone who,
oh, my God, Owen.
Who outruns his splits.
It's like someone shoved a bunch of nitroglycerin up his ass and then lit it on fire, and that's Owen just going bing, bing. He's a pinball. Like, you don't have to run into the walls, dude.
Yep.
So I think about like where I at the peak of my career years ago. And you, like Andy can attest, I'm pretty quick on my feet.
Yeah,
and
you're pretty athletic.
That's my that's my downfall, is because I just want to move. I just think I got to move. I just got to go. And I think I would have rather done it the other way, where I would be 30, 40 pounds overweight and not be so quick on my feet, because then it would give me time to think. I just feel like I outrun myself all the time, and that's why I'm a B class shooter.
You are one of the rare people who never had trouble going 100% when they were not shooting. That's usually something people don't do right away. Is like move with lots of urgency. Like, you always had your hair on fire when you were not shooting. Like, boom, you were gone. But then the shooting part, like, your entry would kind of suck, and your gun's bouncing around, and you gotta wait. And then you used a Lee progressive press, and your ammo sucked, and you got squibs. And like, okay, this is something I have to make fun of Tyler about on this episode, because motherfucker has the cover art for this episode is going to have 9 suppressors on it that he owns. I don't know if that's all of them, but that's what's going on the cover. Meanwhile, he had most of those and was running a Lee progressive press for his ammo.
Yep.
And was having all kinds of problems. And at Iowa, after he had a squib, I was like, dude, you own more suppressors than I own guns. Why do you have a Lee press?
Yeah.
And then a guy that shoots from Sioux City that shoots at our club a lot won a 720 or a 750 at Minnesota section, and I was like, "Hey, Steve won a 750. You should buy it."
I paid for it that day.
He did that day. He literally, his wife just had a baby, and I delivered the press.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
And it is funny how that happens. We had a guy that shoots with us named Kenny. He doesn't really shoot anymore. He had 3 open guns, but he was reloading on a single stage.
No way.
Yep.
No way.
He posted
bought the cars and none of the gas.
He posted a picture one night. He's like, guys, I'm reloading tonight for my ammo for tomorrow's match, and it was a single stage. We're like, bro, what the you have $7,000
Sell an
guns.
open gun and buy an 1100. Jesus.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Anyways, the Dylan that I bought ate my finger the other day when I was troubleshooting
Oh,
it,
yeah.
so that's why I didn't shoot today. But anyways, back to my story. Jeff was going to give me some coaching about a B-class shooter. By the way, on this podcast, people, when you hear a C or a B-class shooter, everyone who is one of those classes needs to get on the ground and do 10 push-ups, because we are not good enough. We're not.
We're not worthy.
Like, I don't get part of the reason you're still. I struggled to get out of. Well, no, I never got out of B class in limited.
B class is the hardest one to move from because
it's
like a
biggest
chasm.
span.
Yeah, because getting out of C class, do some dry fire, make sure they're decent classifiers that you shoot. You should get out of B class or should get out of C class. Like if you're putting in the effort, getting out of B class, I never had to do. So I just jumped from high C to low A, and so I never dealt with this. But I know guys that like
Bert,
were competing with
God
me.
bless you, Bert. I'm so
Right.
sorry.
and that we're like, oh yeah, I'm B class. I'm like, you're ripping out like part of its consistency is you. That's another part
It's totally consistency is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is like the classifiers are specifically difficult to be consistent, because I know guys that have master class or grandmaster class runs on one classifier, and then the next one they'll bomb it with like a 40%. And because you're B class, or sorry, a 50%, because you're B class, you get to keep that 50%.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm A class and I'm sitting at, if it's not 65%, I'm not keeping it. And so
I literally had this conversation with Bert today because the classifier we had at our match was, okay, 2402, folks, don't run it at your club because the high hit factor on that is stupid high. I could not shoot it much faster. I could maybe, through a lot of practice of that specific stage, being quicker on my feet, I could maybe cut a second off of it. I shot it as clean as I could. I mean, like movement-wise. I had 3 Charlies.
Oh, I'm looking at that one.
And yeah, and it's a 65% classifier. It's a mid-B class. Like, it won't. But the problem is I'm a new limited optics shooter, so it's going to count. So my 2 M class runs, and now I got a 65% to throw with it. But I was talking to Bert about that classifier because I shot it and he had heard that, oh man, it's like tough to shoot a good score on that. And he's like, man, I'm just gonna start plugging no shoots. I'm like, well, you still want to win the match, don't you?
Yeah.
Like you still want to. I still care about the match more than I do the classifier. I said, just like go for it. Like. You're better off going for it because if you have a mic or a no shoot, that's going to drop you down. You're probably not going to. But because he's getting so close to A class, and he is an A class shooter. It's all upstairs,
right? And it starts to psych you out. It's the idea, like. And
I remember being there where it would psych me out, and it's like no matter what anybody tells you, you can't get it out of your head. It's so hard.
It is super difficult. I mean, I think Cody talked about it on his podcast. Cody Axon talked about it, that he's like, I made GM when I stopped trying to make GM, is because, and I mean, I run into this. I try not to give a shit about anything. I'm like, hey, no one's punched me in the face. I don't gotta worry about nothing. But like, I'll walk up to a classifier and I'm like, I gotta go balls to the wall. If I don't fucking kill this one, like I ain't getting a GM card. And it's like, cool, dude. Now you have a B class run. Like, what, you didn't accomplish anything by psyching yourself out. And then you'll look at it and you'll go like, there's one where you like have your hands on the wall and there's like 8 poppers in front and you're just bing, 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 bing. Like, it's just blow them all down. I shot out in Wyoming and it was going great till I got the last target. 4 makeup shots later, I'm like, oh, and of course they had the good timers, and I was like, oh, how long did that take me? And I was like, oh, that would have been an easy GM run if I would have just not fucked that up.
If you would have just aimed.
Yep. And so it's like the one thing I can tell you is like, it's a bit pretentious because I'm already there, but like, don't give a shit about your classification.
100%. It's seriously, when I quit carrying. When I started shooting classifiers like stages, now the only time I would get excited for it, I will give this one caveat. When I started shooting them like stages, it became less of a problem. I fucked them up less. Like, you know, where like they're just a total disaster. But whenever there was a classifier that was in my wheelhouse, then I would really, like, nothing will get me to really visualize it well than one that's in my wheelhouse. And the 2 that we shot at my club on Wednesday were 2301 and 2302. I think 2302, the high hit factor is a little on the low side of where it should be. But 2301 seems like it's pretty spot on. Like, I just barely made an A class run, and I shot it about as well as I could. You know,
right.
I don't think I could have shot it a whole lot better. And the but I still treat them like stages. I don't treat them like classifiers. I treat them like stages. If it's something in my wheelhouse, and both of those classifiers were 2302, the fact that there's kind of it's not a long run, it's about a 4-yard run, but there's a whole lot of dead time in that classifier. And the fact that I shot an 88%, I'm like, yeah, this high hit factor is probably a little low.
Yeah,
like,
and
it should be a little higher.
And there's just not a lot. There's not a lot there to separate people's ability. Like,
yeah, it's like hose 3 targets with. Yeah, I mean, there's one target with a no shoot on both arrays, but like it's close, you know.
Yeah,
but shoot classifiers like stages. It'll lower your stress level. Excuse me. It'll lower your stress level, and you'll do better. I promise.
Yep.
Tyler, you're a B class. You've been shooting limited major pretty much up until like
This year. Yep.
So you just started shooting a dot. You are basically the old man in this conversation.
I am.
You're the FUD.
I'm late.
You're really late. What have you noticed? Like, he and I had a couple of text conversations where he's like, holy shit. What were those things that you found and learned about your shooting?
Just like what the dot would tell me. It'd be like when I'd grip the gun, my first shot would be, my first shot would be X, or even when I'm over transitioning, like that was probably the biggest thing. Like, holy shit.
You transitioned so hard.
That is something I tried to work on this year when I was dry firing before Great Plains, was my transitions, just because I would overrun them. And I was overthinking. I was just, because this is the way I am, I was overthinking. I'm like, maybe I am swinging my arms instead of my whole torso at the target. Maybe if I swing my torso, I'll be able to stop.
Think hands.
Yeah, right.
Just think hands.
So that was probably the biggest realization was, wow, I was just over transitioning like crazy, or on long targets, just like the gun dipping or where it was ending up. But covering the dot and making my eyes do the work was probably that was revolutionary for me.
You occluded the dot.
Yep.
And what did you learn occluding the dot?
Then I don't have to worry about the movie that's going on through the little screen. You just see it through your eyes. See it through your eyes.
Let your two eyes make a picture with your brain.
Yep. And
the occluding the dot, though, I will say this over and over. It doesn't work for Jeff. It doesn't work for a lot. It does not work for everybody. So,
and
I think everybody should try it. But if it doesn't work, if it doesn't work for you because you can't see, or bullets land like a foot away from where you're aiming, then give up on occluding the dot.
I had a problem with it when I was occluding it on long targets. Like, it just wasn't working for me for some reason. So that's kind of why on the whole match at Great Plains, I ran it without anything on it, and I wish I would have ran it occluded and just done it, because I think it would have been a better outcome. It wasn't like there wasn't that many long targets at Great Plains when I shot it. I should have just occluded the dot the whole time and let it go.
There's a 50-yard popper. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, I think hit that in my second shot.
Well, and the beauty of it is if you get used to it, and you know that about yourself, when you walk up to the 50-yard one, you take the occlusion off, and then when you go to the short bays, you put the occlusion back on.
Put it back on. Yep.
Yeah, it's particularly helpful in the short to mid-range targets.
Yes, for sure.
It's
absolutely.
With long targets, or if I'm trying to zero my gun, it is not particularly helpful.
Yeah, most people take the occlusion off when they're zeroing their gun, which kind of shows that its precision is not as high as some people want to make it out to be.
I think it can be. It's just harder to create that picture with your brain, at least for me. I think there's people who can probably zero a gun just fine, occluding the dot. I think there's just such a wide spectrum of how it works for people that there's no one right answer when it comes to occluding the dot. I agree. There are people who, if there's a stage with a bunch of long shots, they should probably take it off. Mm-hmm. If there's like somebody like you, Jeff, who your non-dominant eye, is it your not dominant or non-dominant?
My non-dominant eye is so bad that my dominant takes back over.
Yeah, like his vision is so bad in his non-dominant eye, which you could just go to an eye doctor and get that fixed. My ADHD makes me not want to make appointments because I forget about them until I'm like, I should call them tomorrow. Like literally, the next time you get Hunter's HD Gold glasses, you just give Brian the prescription, and then your right eye is fixed, or your left eye is fixed. So, but it's a wide spectrum. But if it works for you and it works for me, it's the fucking easy button. It really is.
Absolutely. It's like, what did somebody? It's like removing. It's just something else you don't have to worry about. You just don't worry about it.
And that's the whole point of this conversation was getting a nicer gun can eliminate the thought process behind or the difficulties of certain guns. So like if you show up to your first match with a Glock 19 and then you go shoot an Atlas limited optics gun, yeah, it's going to be super easy. Or TS2 or Shadow 2 or but once you get, then there are diminishing returns. Like I think the Shadow 2 is the optimal pistol because at some points you can get a non-optics ready version for like $900. It can compete with all the rest of them.
When you're talking about overall, like if like every factor thrown in, absolutely, Shadow 2 is the number one gun there is.
Yeah, but like people,
I think a TAC Sport or Orange or a TS2 is probably objectively a little better.
It's 2, 3, 4, 5% better, but it's 10, 20, 30% more expensive.
No, it's only like, well, it's 20% more expensive, 30% more expensive.
Right. So you're gaining 5% better for 20%, which is actually a really good deal.
That single action trigger in the TAC Sport is so different from the Shadow 2, though. Even in a souped up trigger, it's so much better.
Right, but like, and then the diminishing returns, because the next step up is, let's say, like a Staccato for 1,800, 2,000.
No, I don't think a Staccato's that big a step up. I think you need to go like Atlas before you're actually getting a big step up.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying is that like going from a TAC Sport 2 at $1,200 to I think it's the Staccato P at $2,000, you're getting like a 1% or 2% better for maybe $800. And then once you're there, going up to like an Atlas, in my opinion, I don't shoot a lot of 2011s, but like a Staccato and an Atlas they're not the same gun. They're not the same gun, but they're not that different. Like you're not getting 20% improvement with an Atlas.
I have shot both though, and the Atlas was way easier to shoot.
Right.
I thought compared to a Staccato.
Right, and for something that's 7 times the price, like we're not even talking about
like that's the trade-off.
20%. We're talking
20% better. And when I say way better, I'm saying it was like 20% better.
Right, for a 700 or 700% increase in price, it's like the diminishing returns start, and so getting to that optimal level, whatever that is for you. For some people, it's M&Ps or Glocks or Sig X5s. Some people it's the Shadow 2. Some people they want to take another step up. But like once you're there, the gun is just the tool doing the task, and it becomes more and more about your shooting ability, then your movement ability, and then your planning ability. Like me and my buddy Nick are having a conversation about if you've got targets on one side of an 8-foot wall and targets on the other side of an 8-foot wall, do you push hard or do you come over with the gun up already there? And like that's the type of stuff we're starting to break down with.
Yes, you do both.
Well, if you're pushing hard and you're breaking your grip versus keeping the gun up.
Oh, yeah, it's harder to come in with the gun up if you break your grip.
Exactly. So it's the idea of, is your setup from the broken grip and the hard push slower than the slower movement, but you come in grip made, gun up, ready to go. And again, we're splitting cutting hairs at that point. Like it's we're getting really, really anal about this shit. But like but that's the difference.
I think you keep your grip. I think you keep 2 hands on the gun as long as you're not going to break 180.
Right. And so it's like once you hit A class, like I think A class is the optimal shooting ability. Like,
I thought you thought it was B class.
No. Well, it's for people.
Oh, optimal shooting ability. Okay, I understand.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, because once you get like, and I've never met an A class shooter that couldn't make the same hits as an M class shooter. They just take a quarter of a second longer.
It just takes longer.
Right. Whereas like a C class shooter can't hit a small popper at 20 yards on the first shot every time.
Nope.
And so AM, GM, you're starting to shave these like weird kind of USPSA specific things off, whereas going from C to B to A, you can do it with only your shooting ability. Like that 100%.
Yeah. And B class, Tyler, correct me if I'm wrong, you're capable of hitting that mini popper at 20 yards right away, but you don't.
Oh, absolutely. I think B class. I'm stuck in B class for me because it's 100%. It's just mental. It's just mental of like trust and knowing that you can do it and just following through and actually doing it, because you get worried about too much other stuff. It's separating mind from matter and being like, no, just do the thing. Just do the thing and trust it and trust your fundamentals and do it. But I can't hit that 20-yard popper every time. No way. It's just, I still can't. It's just not there for me.
No, you can, but you don't. What I'm getting at is it's when you're saying why you don't is the mental part.
Yes.
Like, you're capable of it every time. You are, like, if I give you all the time in the world, you can hit a 20-yard mini popper every single time, can't you?
Absolutely.
With no time limit.
Absolutely.
But you don't.
No.
So just do it.
I know.
That's part of it for a lot of B-class shooters, I think, is they think by taking that extra time, first off, you can make your transitions better so that it's easier. That's the thing you can do. The other thing you can do is just the shot takes as long as it takes, period.
And that's what I think that I'm trying to get through my head is, so what? It takes a tenth of a second longer to get that target acquired. That's still shorter than it would take for a second shot to go off. And,
it's way faster than another shot.
That is, that's where I'm at in my head. It's just like, no, just take the extra 10th, 20th of a second to do it.
And Andy was talking about some of the ROs at Nationals watching Eric Grafel go through, especially on the 35-yard partial targets, is like the Americans were trying to like roll through them, whereas Eric Grafel goes to the spot and does the thing at at his ability in each position, and accepting what your ability is it's tough, but it does help you to flow through it more effectively, because you're like, oh yeah, it does take me X amount of time to aim at this target and pull the trigger, but you'll have to remember it took everybody else that a similar amount of time to aim at that target and pull the trigger. At least my brain is like, oh, everyone probably did this like 7 seconds faster than me. And you're like, no, dude, everyone had to go to the same like 4 spots, and they had to aim at the same like 3 targets per spot. And it takes X amount of time, and we're shaving literal like tenths or quarters of a second off of each other. Like that's because everyone had to do the task.
Yep. I have to interject real quick with a story from the match I shot today. So Tristan listens to the show. He's a patron. He is in our Reddit. He entered on a stage where there were 5 poppers. One of the minis is hidden behind a large popper. He comes into that. Now, and Tristan's like a relatively new USPSA shooter. This is probably his 3rd year, I think, probably. And like like when I watch him, he's like he's getting there. He's getting there. He's just not there yet. He enters on 2 mini poppers that were probably at about 12 and 10 yards. Now, there were 2 at 12, 1 at 10, a large at about 14, and then a mini behind it at like 15, hidden by that one. He comes in, still moving, entering, and goes ping, ping on the 2 minis. And then once he's standing still, then he starts missing shit.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, like, I remember being there. Like, you get cocky in your head, like, oh yeah, as soon as you go bing, bing, like you do it right, then you're like, yeah, I'm fucking good. And then you do a bunch of missing after that. Like,
yep, I did that at my Pro-Am match a bunch. It's really annoying when you're like, I took those 3 poppers on the move, let's go. And then you're like, miss. You're like, this is bullshit.
No, like, when it comes to steel, like, you cannot have an ego about steel. You just aim and shoot, period. Like, at our club match on Wednesday, I found out I had makeups on steel twice, and I'm like, what is going on? I had this. Well, I found out practicing Friday, my dot was not quite zeroed. It was a little low left. That's why I was missing, because I was practicing with a mini popper at about 15 yards, and I was like, I called that shot. It was there. I'm like, this is bullshit. I put a paster on a no shoot, and I'm like, oh, That's a nice 3-inch group. Low left of the target, about 3 inches. Okay. That was my fault. But anyway, yeah. Don't have an ego about steel. Just shoot it. Just hit it as long as it takes to do it. All right. Well, we suddenly came to an end to that topic there.
Yeah, no, I'm digesting it all.
We've gone very long with you, Tyler, so you might as well hang on for the rest of the show, which is not going to be a whole lot longer. But we've started a new feature that's been in the Patreon episodes that wasn't intentionally put in there. It just sort of happened to be in there. And it's, so far, the working title of the feature is The History of the Second Amendment. Basically, actual applications where citizens used firearms to defend a cause, whatever it may be. Sometimes against a government entity, sometimes just against whoever. But
Is this in recent history or just
well, in American history.
Okay.
It's right now. It's American history. We will branch out into other countries, and what they do. But right now, I can't find any good ones from a more recent time, because the ability for people to do large scale, or the need for people to use large scale amount of violence has kind of dropped off due to response times of police, military, and federal agencies
As compared to 100 years ago.
Okay. Makes sense.
Right. And so it's like the one we're talking about today, it's called the Battle of Hayes Pond, takes place in 1956. There, of all the officers present, they accounted for 23. There's 23 people, 23 officers, and then there was 1,000 other people. So they were like, yeah, we can't help here. But to get into the story, so the Battle of Hayes Pond is a very interesting look at marginalized communities standing up for themselves. In 1956, a local KKK chapter in North Carolina, started by James Catfish Cole, got active after Brown versus Board of Education. That was the desegregation of schools. Mm-hmm. They were threatening the black population and the Lumbee Indian tribe, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, for interbreeding and for sending their kids to what were now mixed schools.
Wow.
In 1957, they attacked the home of an NAACP member, but were repelled by armed black activists led by Robert Williams. So that was the first time these KKK members decided to have a gunfight, and the armed activists told them to get lost. But after that attack, they refocused in St. Paul's, North Carolina, and burned a cross in the yard of an Indian woman who was dating a white man. Then they went to the home of an Indian family that had moved into a white neighborhood and burned a cross in their yard. Because, KKK, wonderful people.
Let's
wonderful
burn crosses in yards.
Right. So, after all that success, they planned a large rally for the following week where they planned to burn a cross in the middle of the Lumbee Indian Nations community, where the leader, Mr. Cole, would condemn the mongrelization of races. They planned for thousands of Klansmen to be there. Rumors circulated that gun stores were selling large quantities of ammunition a few days before the rally. The Klans paid for marketing flyers and a truck with a loudspeaker to announce the plan. This, rightfully so, infuriated the Lumbee. Maxton, which is a town near this area, police chief asked Mr. Cole to suspend the gathering, fearing the violence. Cole refusing, stating, "It sounds like you don't know how to handle your people. We're going to come show you." The Lumbee men started discussing their response. No leader took charge, but the black population in the area began feeding them intelligence from the Klan members that worked with them. Because back in the 50s, being a Klansman wasn't a negative to your employment.
It's kind of a negative now.
Yeah. Some of us would say rightfully, but tomato, tomato.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
So the Klan set up in a field by Hayes Pond on the evening of January 18th. So for some reason they're like, you know what we're going to do? have a gathering in the winter. That is what people want to do, is stand outside.
It was North Carolina, though. It's not like it was, upper Midwestern winter.
True.
Yeah.
They were expecting 500 Klansmen to show up. 10 showed up to start setting up. They erected one light pole and were carrying weapons as a show of force. The police arrived with around 16 deputies, and then another dozen from the highway patrol were waiting nearby with submachine guns. Like back in the day where cops were like, yeah, we're just going to go get some Thompsons and that'll solve the problem. The people began showing up, but reports are that no more than 50 Klansmen showed up. Now, the 50 number, I don't know if that's individual Klansmen or their families, because you're going to come to find out they had their families there.
Oh, God.
Yes. So the Lumbee were showing up in cars with 6 to 8 people per car. And when Cole started his speech, the Lumbee began exiting their cars, and reports vary, but between 300 and 1,000 Lumbee men, many of them veterans, began marching towards the Klan armed with rifles, shotguns, and pistols. They chanted that they wanted to take Cole, and the Klan said Klan things back. I'm not going to repeat the things that they yelled back. The sheriff pulled Cole aside and reported to have said, well, you know how it is. I can't control the crowd with the few men I've got. I'm not telling you not to hold a meeting, but you see how it is. So no one knows.
Left.
Exactly. Well, no one knows who started the physical confrontation, but one report is that 2 Lumbee men ran forward and smashed the light pole and the public address system. This put the field into complete darkness and silence. This was soon followed by gunfire. Most of it was from the Lumbee men firing in the air or at the Klansmen's vehicles, like trying to shoot their tires out, because that myth has existed forever. The Klansmen ran into the swamp, leaving their wives and children with the Lumbee. Cole specifically left his wife and 3 children as he ran into the swamp. The Lumbee report that the wives and children drove away, some of them being helped out of ditches by the Lumbee. Order was restored when the sheriff fired 2 tear gas grenades into the crowds and announced over the loudspeaker that if they dispersed now, they could be home in time to see Gunsmoke on television. The sheriff directed the Klansmen to get out of the area. The police confiscated 2 trunk loads of firearms from the Lumbee and the Klansmen. One of 2 arrests was the Klansman's sergeant at arms, who was arrested for public drunkenness and carrying a concealed weapon. He passed out in a ditch with a gun in his back pocket. Cole, the leader of this, hid in the swamps for 2 days. 5 Klansmen received minor gunshot wounds. 3 reporters were injured, and a Lakota Army soldier, a U.S. Army soldier from Fort Bragg who happened to be Lakota was also injured, apparently. The only major arrest out of this was Cole was arrested for inciting a riot.
God, and what year was this? 1956?
Yeah, 57.
God.
Man.
So
It's really not that long ago if you think about it. It's
Not
really
in the grand scheme of history,
no.
no.
my dad was 2. My dad was born in 1955. So
Yeah.
My parents were 8 when that
Yeah.
happened.
So within our parents' lifetime, a marginalized community was like, you know what? We don't like you burning crosses in our yard, so we have these guns, and we're going to tell you not to do this anymore. The Klan tried to do it again in like the 60s, and were basically told by the the local judiciary was like, we have an injunction against you doing this because last time no one died, but we can't guarantee that again.
Right.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. No, that... well done, Jeff.
That was good.
I
That was
like
actually
those.
very informative.
I
That was
like
really
those. I love those so much. We even got somebody on Reddit had mentioned how they like... I think they called it Story Time with Jeff.
I mean, I appreciate that.
Yeah. But it was... No, or the history lessons with Jeff. The history of the Second Amendment where it actually came into play is fascinating. So, we still... Okay, here's a little inside baseball, folks. When we have an interview, we usually record the interview first, and then we record the rest of the show. We've had Tyler on for 105 minutes. We still haven't recorded the beginning of the show at the time we're recording this. But we need to do that now. And as Tyler says, whenever he listens to my podcast, he can tell when I'm starting to get a little lubed up. And I'm sure you can tell that I'm a little lubed up. So you're going to have a lubed up Andy at the beginning of the show. and then a sober Andy for a while, and then a lubed up Andy by the end. So, thank you so much, Tyler Meester, for joining us today and enlightening us with the Suppressors. He's Jeff King. I'm Andy Erickson. This is Not Another Shooting Show.